I'm Danika Wagner. I'm a PhD student in the clinical psychology program here at York University. The experience of mental effort. So, mental effort is something that everyone experiences when they're engaged in some kind of mentally demanding task. So, thinking about like undergraduate students or really anyone taking an exam, it's the experience that arises when you're really thinking through a tough question, or can also come up when you really feel like you know the answer and like that everything's kind of coming naturally to you. That's like the experience that I'm really interested in. And what we know so far about the experience of mental effort has been limited in some ways by the measures that have been developed to look at this experience. And so I'm trying to help improve our understanding of something that everyone experiences by coming up with new measures and being able to assess this experience a little bit more precisely. I think the experience of mental effort is really important for everyone. Engaging in mental tasks is something that is important for individual and collective flourishing. And it's something that we have to persist with, especially as our society moves more towards a information technology economic system. So it impacts everyone, but I'm also interested in how it impacts individuals in more clinical populations where we might see more kind of functional outcome differences as a result of their experience. So I'm thinking of individuals with ADHD who may dislike or avoid tasks that require mental effort, and that kind of leads to increased impairment in those populations. What I like most about the research is really trying to come up with better ways to measure the experience of mental effort. So what I've done so far has been focused on developing self-report measures of the experience, tapping into different aspects of it, and figuring out if that really fits with what people experience or not. And then also thinking about more like behavioral measures. So we can step outside of the subjective experience and see how this experience of mental effort is related to behavioral avoidance, and thinking of different tasks we can use to maybe measure that avoidance more directly. So I think because everyone experiences mental effort, and our understanding and measurement of it has been limited so far, ways that we know how the experience works, the mechanisms underlying it, and maybe future interventions that we can use for everyone are kind of limited. So since we all need to engage in mentally demanding tasks in our society, we need to figure out how to maybe make this experience a little bit better. And for those clinical populations, figuring out how to develop interventions that target the experience of mental effort and avoidance of mentally effortful tasks can really help them improve their like functional outcomes. So in our lab, in the boredom lab under the supervision of Dr. John Eastwood, we use both self-report and behavioral measures. So the self-reports are kind of self-explanatory. We really just ask people to fill out questionnaires about their experience, or even sometimes conduct interviews with them as well in terms of more qualitative research. But we're also interested in like behavioral paradigms. And this most often includes asking participants to sit down at a computer and complete a task at the computer, pressing different buttons in response to whatever is coming up on their screen. And we combine that with the self-report to get measures of like their cognitive performance in different domains of human cognition, like attention or working memory, or even maybe task switching. And we combine that with that self-report. So we get more of a holistic picture of both their experience and how it's actually impacting their performance. After I graduate, I would love to continue on with my research, either in an academic or more maybe an adjunct hospital position, because I really think that the experience of mental effort is something that we're all going to have to deal with increasingly as we continue to move towards that information technology-based economy. So I would love to continue on my research in some capacity to be able to extend the research that I'm doing now, which is kind of more foundational into those mechanisms, and maybe build towards interventions or tips and tools that everyone can use to improve their experience of doing mental tasks.